Good morning and welcome back to the Up Zone, where understanding politics is made simple. We are your two hosts, Mr. Elmer Floyd, former House Representative for the 43rd District in the state of North Carolina, and myself, Tisha S. Waddell, former City Council Representative for the 3rd District in the city of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Mr. Floyd, how goes all?
So far, so good. So good so far, Tisha. I'm so happy that tomorrow is Thanksgiving, and I attended an activity with one of my attorney friends, and they deep fried a turkey, and it was to be ready in 48 minutes. So I went to Walmart and bought me a similar deep fry for $134, and I'm gonna cook my Cornish hen in it within
In 4
48 minutes.
minutes.
No, I'm gonna use the full 48 minutes. I'm gonna use the full 48 minutes
Y'all won't
to
be
cook
having
my.
a Cornish hen for Thanksgiving.
Well, Teach. I
You
mean,
tell
I
Mrs. Floyd, I said, I'm sorry that she put you on Cornish hen duty.
no. Teach. I mean, let's be real. I mean, I saw it. It looked beautiful. I'm only going to use it one time, so I invested $134 to cook my Cornish
Yeah,
hen. I
yeah,
mean, you and Larry, y'all bought one of them expensive one that you drop to hang it and drop it in. I
yeah,
just
air
wanted to be
fryer.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think our air fryer probably costs the same as or less than what you spent on that one for oil.
well, Teach, I mean, I just want to make sure that my hand
But
is
we're not
cooked
gonna
all the way
talk
through.
about deep pockets, Mr. Floyd. We're not gonna talk about your deep
Well,
pockets, Mr.
okay,
the
then I
bill
go on.
collectors.
I just wanted to let you know how thankful I am for Thanksgiving and how I look at that. But this month, on the announcement again, is Native American Month, Diabetes Month,
Yes.
and then Peace Memorial is going to have their activities on December the 6th at their church. And then I mentioned before that former Commissioner Evans is going to have his activity on December the 6th at the VFW.
Yes.
And
Campaign
you got to
kickoff.
take a, yeah. And then Bill Shaw, I think it's going to go to the Salvation Army to support that. And your new council member is going to be sworn in on December the 1st at the Fayetteville State University at six
Absolutely.
o'clock at Seabrook Auditorium. So if
Absolutely.
you
And I
want
do
them,
want to thank both Councilman elect Sean McMillan and Councilman elect Antonio Jones for your invitations to come and see your special day. I'm so excited for you guys. Really looking forward to seeing what's to come. We're going to be talking today after our special guest about some of the prioritization that we heard come forward from our newly elected, and I'm just excited to see how it's all going to shape up. Mr. Floyd, we do have a special guest today, and I do want to remind everybody about my mom's event while we're doing the introductions. Women's Veterans Interactive is having their fundraising event. I'm pretty sure we posted that information on social media. If not, don't worry, I will. We'll get that out. We are recording early because tomorrow is dun, 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 the day people give thanks,
Thanksgiving.
aka Thanksgiving, and we wanted
Let
to
me
make
ask you
sure that
another
everybody.
question, Tish.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you. I also during the council last meeting, I don't know, those members got the key to the city.
We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that a little
Uh,
bit
okay,
because
I
I do
just want to
have
let you know.
we're going to talk about that because I saw something that impressed me so much, and I want to make sure that we give kudos where kudos should be
Okay.
given. So I do want us to talk about that. Mr. Floyd, should we bring in our guest now?
Yes, because it came from Rumorville, but
Uh-huh.
sometimes people might think that we don't have the correct Rumorville information. So I asked Sheriff Wright, was it true what I heard from Rumorville?
Right.
And he said, yes. So I said, well, is it possible for you to come on our podcast and
Right.
explain to them that we do have some knowledge about what's going on in the community? So,
Right. And
so
he
we
and
have,
he agreed immediately. And so we are getting ready to bring him in the room. I want to set everybody's expectations. Sheriff Wright his camera is unavailable today. So this is going to be an audio segment. So nothing's wrong with the equipment. We're just we wanted to make sure that we got him on in a timely fashion, and we were willing to do so, even though we knew we weren't going to be able to see him in all his stature and stance. But we're going to go ahead and bring him on. Former sheriff of Cumberland County, Sheriff Ennis Wright. So good. Wait, we got to wait. The three dots are loading. The three dots are loading. Good morning, Sheriff Wright. How are you?
Good morning, ma'am.
Pleasure to have you. Pleasure to have you. So we've done all the pomp and circumstance. We've given your introduction. Mr. Floyd has alluded to the fact that there has been some rumorville kind of circulating in terms of what's happening with the sheriff's race, that this upcoming sheriff's race. And Mr. Wright, Sheriff Wright, you know, a lot of people would love nothing more than to see you put your name back on the ballot. But I fear that that is not the rumor that is to be confirmed today. What do you know about this sheriff? Well, before we jump right into that, because I don't want to just go straight there, I want to ask you, how's life treating you post responsibility and weight of the sheriff of Cumberland County?
Well, what I'm enjoying my retirement. A lot of the a lot of the stress is gone. You know, when you're responsible for the county as the highest law enforcement official, you know, you have a lot going on. So you never turn your mind off. Even when you close your eyes, your mind is still going. You know, because you're concerned with the citizens of the county. You're concerned with the deputies that's out there. But as far as that, I miss the folks. I miss the folks in the community. You know, that I made contact with. You know, over I put 33 and a half years in law enforcement. So that's a long, after getting out of the military and coming back home. So that's a long time. But no, I'm just, I take it day by day. You know, I still get up in the morning and do my routines. You know, it's just sometimes, I just miss the people. You know, like we say in the Army, you miss a lot of people that you made friends with, you had contacts with. So but yeah, but as far as that, I'm doing good. But I have to be honest with you. I thought I was going to leave all this politics behind me and just become a normal citizen. But that's not so.
Sir, I hate to inform you, and I mean, I didn't serve the entire county in the role of sheriff, but I need for you to know that when you serve as an elected, sir, once elected, always considered elected, okay? You will never not get phone calls. People are going to call you until you close your eyes on
Yes,
this
ma'am.
earth, okay? If something
They,
goes wrong, we're still going to call
they do,
Sheriff
yes, ma'am.
Wright.
They,
So
they,
what's what
they do. They still do. But yeah, go ahead.
and
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was going to say, and the reality is, and let me tell you personally, and from all of the people whose calls you still take, we thank you and we appreciate you, because many of us were really like, what are we going to do when he leaves? Like, what's about to happen? So the fact that you still grant us even this level of access where we can ask you to explain to us what we're seeing shaping up, we really appreciate it. So thank you for that. Sheriff Wright, what is your take on what we should expect to see in the next 3 months in regards to filing, in regards to what's happening at the sheriff's department, and just how are you feeling about how everything is sort of coming to pass? Because when you left, I'm sure that you had some hand in who would be appointed and being able to kind of give a recommendation, even though ultimately it was the decision of the county commissioners. In your wake, JT Morgan was appointed as the interim. Is it interim? Do we call him interim sheriff?
Interim, yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Interim,
so
sure.
he was appointed as the interim sheriff, and there's some rumblings that at this point, even though at one point you were going to be supportive of him as the next elected sheriff, that you have now sort of thought differently of that. And I would like for you to give some clarity to our audience, because, like Mr. Floyd said, there's a lot of rumorville, and we want to clear up the rumors, sir.
Yes, ma'am. And Miss Floyd knows me. I've been knowing Miss Floyd for a while too. But yes, as you say, it's just like when Sheriff Butler left out, when he went over to ask commissioners to appoint me to finish his term, and that's the same thing I did. You look at what you have in the sheriff office, the leadership that you have, and you say, okay, this guy can probably, grow to become a sheriff. Okay. And you look for those qualities. Um, but as when I retired here, and some of the things that have been going on in the sheriff office, I just can't agree with it. You know, um, Ms. Waddell, there's 3 pet peeves I have that sheriff rights standards. It's respect, loyalty, integrity. And if you don't have those in law enforcement, you're no good to the citizens or to that sheriff office. If you don't have that, if you lose that, you're no good. Your sheriff office is no good. As I always say, when you're at the top, you set the standards. You set the standards for that sheriff office. I always knew when I was the sheriff, I had to set the standards for that sheriff office. Okay. When you start dropping your standards, that's when you have problems in your office. But my thing is, I thought when I got behind and supported JT, when I supported Morgan to be my replacement, I thought he had those qualities that what I just said. But as I went on and got to learning, hearing and talking to him, I found out he doesn't have those qualities. Some people, in life, some people are meant to take orders and some people are meant to lead. And, I just feel that, the young man, I feel that it's not right for him right now because some of the decisions that he has made down there, that's not what a sheriff would do. It's not what a sheriff decisions he has made. Sheriff wouldn't do that. You have to set the standards. Now, just like we say, Ms. Floyd been in the military like I have. If the top is messed up, the bottom's gonna be messed up. Okay?
Absolutely.
If the citizens lose trust in the top or in the sheriff, you're no good. You're no good. So I looked at some of these decisions that he has made, and I said, no, I can't endorse this young man. So as you said, I'm sure everybody heard that Sheriff Wright is going to endorse Troy McDuffie for sure, and that's who I'm going to endorse for sure. I looked at after I can say this. I talked my last conversation with Morgan convinced me that I need to go ahead and find somebody to run to endorse.
And I was going to ask you that, Sheriff Wright, because I don't want anybody to. Right. I don't want anybody. I'm sorry for interrupting. I don't want anybody to think that this conversation is coming out of left field and that we are the first people to hear this. So you have already had a conversation with Interim Sheriff Morgan about your concerns.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And Sheriff Morgan knows my concerns with him. He knows my concern with what's going on. As I say, there's things that when you make a decision as a sheriff, it affects the organization. It affects the community. And it says a lot about you when you make a decision that's not fair to your subordinates down there. That means that they look at you as you're not going to be fair to them. You have to make sure you treat everybody the same. Nobody is special when you're at the top. You treat everybody the same. So in saying that, that's why some of those decisions he's doing. I just came back and like I explained to him, Morgan. I was the one that went over there and talked to those commissioners. You're finishing out my term, my 2 years. I thought you was gonna be the man to move on to do what I started. Okay. So, but I found out that's not so. I had I had to go back to what my predecessor told me always, and that was Sheriff Butler. He said, "Son, when you make a mistake, own up to your mistake." So I'm owning up to my mistake. That's what I'm doing. So that's why, like I say, I'm going to endorse Troy. Troy has over 35 years of law enforcement. He took over I don't know if you guys recall when Spring Lake lost their police department out there. He was the one that went back out there and rebuilt that police department. So he has the experience from all the times, service that he has put in. here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mr. Floyd, what question do you want to ask our forever sheriff?
Well, my thing with Sheriff Wright is that when I hear a rumor, it's our responsibility is to somehow share that to the community that it is a rumor. So when I spoke with him, I asked him point blank, is it true or is it false?
Mhm.
And he said to me, it is true. I said, so would you come on our podcast and share with our listening audience your reason why Rumor Bill provided this for us? And I'm thankful that he was not afraid. He's a
Right.
short guy. You know what I mean? But I think it's about 5'6". Short guy.
All right.
So
I'm going to tell you,
Okay.
there's something that Sheriff Wright said, and I wrote it down because I'm actually going to use this quote later, and I'm going to attribute it to you, Sheriff Wright. But I think that the premise of in life, some people are meant to take orders and some are meant to lead is so very profound. And I want to give you credit. And I know this probably sounds like I'm just singing the glory of Sheriff Wright, but there's something about when you understand the character and composition of a person, it helps you to be able to give weight to their endorsement. Anybody who can stand in front of an audience and say, hey, I made the wrong choice and I want to get it right now. And to own that and to be clear about it, that's a strong character trait. And that is the trait of somebody who is called to lead. And my hope is that our audience will be attentive and will hear what's being said and will process that. And if they have questions, that they will ask those questions of both of these candidates so that they can get a clear view of why we're in this position. One of the things, Sheriff Wright, that a lot of people are concerned about with law enforcement that I think you're speaking to is the ability to feel like law enforcement operates fairly across the board. And I think when you start to see internally people at the top or at any level of law enforcement making decisions that don't seem fair, that don't seem equitable, and that don't really seem adequate, it gives you pause and makes you wonder if that is going to become the culture of that organization. And I think you spoke a little bit about from the top down. Can you talk about the culture of the sheriff's organization when you left and what your concern is moving forward that you want to make sure we don't end up kind of regressing to or becoming as we look at the national trend of policing and sheriffing across the United States?
Right. Yes, ma'am. Like I say, when I left there, the sheriff office, we was the office. There's 100 counties, 100 sheriff office. There's 5 sheriff offices in the state of North Carolina that achieve gold standards, accreditation, gold standards, and that was us. That we wanted. So that set us above a lot of these sheriff offices. That meant that we had standards that we went by our guidelines. And when you drop standards, as I say, when you go against your policy, you create a problem. Now, just like I said, you went against your policy. So now that deputy sitting at the bottom, what is he saying? Well, those policies don't mind. There's no good. I can't believe what my top is saying because they went against their own policy. When that's what I tell folks. When I was there was times, like I always tell folks, when you're at the top, you sit alone a lot of times because you got to make decisions that Ms. Waddell, Ms. Floyd might not like, but they are fair decisions, and you have to make those. If you can't make those decisions, you're no good at the top. You can't make a decision because I want to promote my buddy, my friend. You can't make that decision. You got to make sure you follow the guidelines that was set, your policy. You got to do that because once you get away from that, then that's gonna probably bleed over into your community. So why is the community gonna trust you out there? Because the deputies, you got to understand, deputies talk. They talk to folks
That's
out
right.
there in the community. They talk to folks, just like you said, Ms. Waddell. I get phone calls every day. Folks talk to me. Okay, but I'm open-minded about what they're saying to me, what they're saying, because like I say, I stayed down at that sheriff office for 30 years, and moved up through the ranks down at that sheriff office. So I don't want to see what Sheriff Butler started, and when Sheriff Wright came in and continue to move forward. So I don't want to see the sheriff office go backwards. There's standards. Standards are for discipline. If you don't have standards, you don't have discipline. Okay. When you start lowering your standards in order to recruit, you have a lot of problems when you do that. You can look at the stage today and look at the Border Patrol, these guys out here. I look at TV and it really upsets me the way that these folks treat people, because when you start just recruiting folks, you're just bringing folks in that's not qualified to be in law enforcement. When you're in law enforcement, you have to have compassion for people. Yeah, you got a job to do, but you still have compassion for folks. That's what you do. So I just like I told you, I just don't. A lot of things that's going on, I don't agree with. But like I said, I thought the young man was going to carry on and move forward. What Sheriff Butler started, what I started. But to me, it's not progressing that way.
Absolutely. And like I said, I want to tell you thanks again, Mr. Floyd. Do you have any other questions before we let Sheriff Wright get back to being retired?
Well, Sheriff, I just like to just ask you, one question. There is that a lot of people do go about say that they endorse a person, on Monday, and then on Tuesday, it's that endorsement has somewhat subsided, and you don't see that person out front really supporting that person. So, are you saying that you're going to endorse him on Monday and forget about him on Tuesday? Or are you going to endorse him Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday?
Well, Mr. Floyd, I'm going to endorse him up until the time he get elected, Mr. Floyd, and then and continue after that. Mr. Floyd, when I give you my word, I will hope to think that the citizens know that Sheriff Wright is a man of his word. Because when I say something, I mean what I say. That's the way I was taught, where I was raised. As I always go back to mom raising 6 boys. She raised 6 boys by herself. And that woman taught us, you respect, loyalty, integrity. She always taught us that. And that's how I have lived my life that way. So, and that's going to be that. I'm going to be behind Troy McDuffie. That's what I'm behind.
But I respect you for that, because somebody told me that your mother gave you a choice when you finished high school, and my understanding.
No, that's what I finished college. When I dropped out of college, that thing, it was either survive or go in the military. So I joined the military.
That's my understanding, and she said that my understanding again, what they talk about in the community. Said even with your height, and we saw pictures of you, playing basketball at Terry Sanford, and your height. But they said, man, that you feel that mother, and I don't know, is that true?
Ms. Floyd, never use a bad word in front of them. No, sir.
When I heard that, I said, and oftentimes people joke with you about that fear that your mother put in you, and that showed me a sign of respect that you had for her. And also, you let us know,
yes,
and with Madam Waddell, that sometimes we get Roomaville correct. So thank you so much for taking
Thank
the
you
time
for that.
today.
Thank you.
And coming to let us know that we just don't be talking to be talking.
You got that correct.
Well,
And
we
No,
thank you
sir.
so
appreciate
No,
much,
you.
sir.
sir. No, sir. Y'all got it
Sheriff, right?
correct.
Any last words you want to leave with the people that are watching
Okay.
today or will watch later?
Well, I just want, like I say, I just and one thing I want to do before I leave, 'cause like I say, I was the one that set this in motion, um, with the appointment, with the interim. I just want to apologize to the community, and I think I spoke with a couple of people. I think I spoke with Ms. Floyd and some folks uh, about the when you project the image from the sheriff office, that matters, and what I'm speaking on, there, Ms. Floyd, Ms. White, is that, I got a photo of the chief down there that was he was dressed up as an inmate, as a criminal. When you approaching, I would say it matters, what the community think. It matters that you don't be insensitive to the community. You know, that was not appropriate outfit to dress up in. You know, understand it was Halloween, but you want to project a positive role model. Why didn't you just stay in your uniform? Because I was down there as a sheriff. That would have never happened. You just don't
Yeah.
do that. You don't want our young folks, the kids, say, okay, it's all right to approach a criminal. You don't want to put that image out there. You don't want to be insensitive to the community. When I saw it, it ticked me off because I said, "What are you doing? Why, as a sheriff, why would you allow your chief to do that? You just don't put uniforms on like that. You don't put no outfit on like you're a criminal and you projecting to kids this is a good thing. It's not a good thing. That's why we got the jail prevention man down there to show them this is not something you want to be in. So why would you project that to them? So, and that's part of leadership. You as the sheriff, like I told Morgan, you as sheriff, you responsible for everything that go out of this office, whether you do it or not. You're responsible for it. So I just want to apologize to the community for that because I know some folks was upset about it, as I was about it. So okay,
Yeah.
but I just want to let folks know, to trust me again, because I think I earned your trust. Like we always say, you earn respect. Respect is not given; you earn it. And so I think I earned that. So I'm asking the folks to get behind me to support Troy McDuffie for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, sir, for taking time with us. We will absolutely push this message out to our audience. And on behalf of us and our audience, we accept your apology and we will definitely look into your recommendation because we do respect you. So have a wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of your retirement. And if you ever have anything else you want to come and share, you are welcome here. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And y'all take care. Y'all have a happy Thanksgiving.
You too, sir. Bye-bye.
Same to you.
Well,
Bye
Mr.
bye.
Floyd, I believe that that says a lot. I think that speaks
Well,
volumes.
I think that it's our responsibility, is provide information and help people to understand politics and make it simple. So a lot of time people believe that when we say rumorville that we don't have the correct information. So that's why
Right.
when I saw him, I approached him and I asked him point blank, "Is it correct?" And he told me yes. I said, "Well, would you come on and share that with our audience?" So I thank
Absolutely.
him for that.
And Mr. Floyd, let me say this because I do want to point to something else that he said, and I want to give our audience something to parallel it with. He said, whenever you start going against your own policies, you lose community trust. And I want to point to a lot of what this community has seen happen at the city council level to show them just how true and accurate that is. That what is done amongst the body or amongst the leadership level definitely plays out in the community in a way that causes the fracture of trust. Because when you don't follow or adhere to the policies that are set before you, you create a culture of mistrust and confusion and chaos that is very difficult to rebound from if you do not remove the people who are unwilling to submit to that policy and that procedure. So, Mr. Floyd, I can't listen. You cannot fault somebody for getting it wrong, but you can certainly champion when somebody comes back, acknowledges that they got it wrong, and then rights that wrong. So I really do appreciate that you saw us through to the finish line to close the loop on Rumorville. Thank you for that, Mr. Floyd.
Well, you are quite welcome, Madam Waddell, and thank you for allowing me to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You do your job well, sir. Now, while we're talking about Rumorville, let's jump over, and we're talking about processes. Let's jump over and talk about the council operations. Let's kind of decode the myths about the agenda packages, because one of the things that's happening is a conversation now around the dinner meeting, right? The infamous
Mhm.
city council dinner meeting. This dinner meeting takes place at 6 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken, 6
No,
o'clock.
no, no, no. It's 5:30. I think it take. I think the council. It takes
It's an
place
hour
an
before the
hour
council meeting.
before the
Yeah.
council meeting. Yes,
Right. It's an hour before the council
5:30.
meeting.
Uh,
And so they go into this meeting, and typically what will happen in the dinner meeting is that my grandson is here right now, and he is ringing my bell. Literally, I have a bell, Mr. Floyd, and he is ringing it, and he knows
That's
he's
my
gonna get
friend.
it. He know he gonna get in
That's my
trouble when I
friend.
get up.
That's my
Yes,
friend.
I
That's my friend. I
understand, but
love him.
he is gonna get in trouble for messing with that bell when I get off this podcast.
He loves his
Don't come in
grandmother and
here.
he want her attention. He loves his grandmother and he want her attention.
He
That's what I'm
does.
saying.
And we had a
Okay.
deal, Mr. Floyd, and the deal was, if you don't come in here while I'm doing my podcast, I will take you to the Waffle House. But he has come in here 4 times.
That's
Four
because he wants
times.
to go to the Waffle House and he wants to be with his grandmother. Nothing wrong with that. I don't see anything
So
wrong with that.
as I was saying, this dinner meeting has been going on since at least I was on council and before. And I never knew. I just thought it was a part of the process of council. I didn't know the evolution of it until I read it in City View. When I read it in City View, I said, if I would have known this when I was on council, I never would have. I would have asked for us to end this a long time ago, because the evolution of the dinner meeting was to give unprepared council members an opportunity to get caught up to speed. Now you get from the time that I was on council, they issue you a tablet. Your tablet is the heartbeat of your work. It has everything you need to get caught up to snuff, everything you need to know to get your agendas, all the everything. Check your email, all the things. You are issued a tablet and a city issued cell phone. That tablet receives your agenda in enough time before the meeting for you to read through the agenda and ask staff or your fellow council members any questions that you might have before coming into that meeting. I think the
Mhm.
fact that it was said out loud that there is a meeting before the meeting to get people up to speed that are unprepared says a lot about the people that this community continues to elect. And I'll just sit that there and let you take it from there, Mr. Floyd.
Well, sometimes I look at, excuse me,
Hmm.
the council meeting, itself as a former legislator. Excuse me for coughing. As a former legislator,
Hmm.
it was our responsibility to read our agenda package prior to. That was your responsibility as serving as a legislator. So that
Hmm.
meant that you had to read while you were asleep, read while you was walking, read
Read
while
when you
you was
go to the
on.
bathroom, read when you eat your breakfast. You got to
You
read.
come. I mean, that's to keep you up to date because it's constantly changing. But now, if I was on the city council, then it would be two things that would be. It would be ideal for me because I can get paid for
And do
doing nothing,
nothing.
nothing. I can get paid. Okay. And at the same time, I don't have to read. And then if I want to, I don't have to be present. I can do it remotely.
Right.
Okay. And
Well, and
and,
we
and
talked a
I
little
don't
bit about
understand it.
that. And let me tell you, I don't know what the new process is for remote, so I'm not going to touch too much on that. But let me say this, Mr. Floyd. I remember sitting in meetings, and it used to be so smooth. And I don't know, he probably still does this. City manager and city attorney as questions would come up in the days while we were having a conversation about agenda items in a council meeting, they would always say, well, as was referenced in your cam, or as was placed in the agenda. And every time I would hear that, this is what I would hear: if you would have just read your crap, you'd already know the answer to this question. But they were so
Yeah.
professional in how they placed it. And Mr. Floyd, I really believe that some of these 3, 4, 5 hour long meetings would be 45 minutes if people just read their stuff, asked any questions that they needed clarification on beforehand, came in, presented the information that they needed for their constituency to hear, and went on about their business after taking their votes. But no, what we see is you have to come in and discuss 40 pages worth of notes because you didn't read the important stuff to get yourself caught up to speed, which is also how you end up with a lot of this bad legislation because people don't read, Floyd. They
Other
don't
words,
read.
no, yeah. I mean, what you are relying on, you are relying on the staff to make
To do your
decision.
homework for you. Yeah.
Yes. And then you're taking that rep. For instance, just
And
like
then
in
you get mad
zoning.
at them. You get mad at the staff when they give you their understanding when you could have went and got your own. So you see
Yeah.
people arguing with staff and arguing with other council members when all you had to do was
Well,
read.
teacher, I'll give you an example. I attended a zoning meeting. Okay.
Hmm.
The zoning person did not include all of the information in the package.
Which would
Okay.
have been caught by somebody if they would have read
Read the
the
information. He did
package.
not include, but yet still, this person advised the council. Okay. And the council take the recommendation mostly from that staff person, which
Hmm.
provided not all the information. Okay.
Right.
So then again, you're relying on the staff to make governance.
To do your job for you. And let me say this, Mr. Floyd, because I think it's so interesting. One of the things that people used to say to me so often: stop hanging on my curtains. That little boy is, wait a minute, y'all.
It's okay.
Get
It's
down.
okay.
No, have you ever
He's
seen a child hang from your curtains?
what he is enjoying himself.
No, his
Okay.
mama's finna have to come get him. Get down.
No, no, he's enjoying
But
himself.
but let me say this, Mr. Floyd. If don't come in here, go sit down and watch the show that I put on for you. And when I get finished, we'll talk. But go sit down. Thank you so much. And don't let me see you hanging on my curtains again. Thank God for good brackets. So here's the thing I want to kind of highlight. When I came on council, people used to always say how prepared I was and how quickly I caught on. And that mystified me because it's not really rocket science, right? It's about
Mhm.
being able to understand information, process how that information affects your community, and then make a vote based upon that understanding and that process. I get it now, Mr. Floyd. I understand why they were so impressed with what seemed so simple to me. It was because I was reading the agenda. So when I came in,
Well,
I knew what was going on. I understood the historical background because I read the agenda, because all of that is in the agenda. There are even links because it's digital, it's in your tablet. There's even links
mhm.
that take you back to old stuff that let you see who brought what forward, what they said when they brought it forward, what the conversation was around. You can go back and look at
but
all of this
but why do that? Why do
when you can
that
just
when I
ask
can go?
somebody to tell you what to do.
Yeah, yeah. Why do that and get my? I think it's whatever $20,000+ a year, which is not a good pay. But at the same time, and another thing that
It's
I just
enough if
don't
you're not gonna do
understand.
your work. If you just showing up to
Yeah,
take votes, that's enough. It's
well,
enough.
well, that's one thing. And then again, I don't understand in the North Carolina General Assembly and the U.S. Congress, you have to be present to cast a vote.
Right.
You cannot in the North Carolina General Assembly participate in remote voting. You
Right.
can't do that. That's not one
Right.
of their policies. And I don't understand how the city or the county can have remote. So what you're telling me, I don't have to read my packet. That's number one. I don't have to be present. I can
Hmm.
then participate remotely. So I don't even have to do anything. But I don't know how they get paid every other week or once a month or whatever. I don't have to do anything. You
Right.
see, but I do not understand a person can vote remotely.
Well, Mr. Floyd, I'm not
don't-
going to speak to that because I remember there was a time where they were having conversations about ending that right after COVID. Because when the COVID pandemic, when the pandemic happened, we all went online. And after the pandemic, they were having a hard time getting people to commit to coming back in to chambers. People still wanted to be online. And so there was some talk about changing that policy. I don't remember what the final outcome of that was. But as we saw in the conversation in the last meeting, there is apparently um, some afforded convenience still of being able to not be present, because we saw that Mr. Hondros was not present. I do want to highlight the difference between something we saw in Monday's meeting versus something that we saw in a prior meeting before that, when they were where Brenda McNair was concerned. So Councilwoman Brenda McNair, in a meeting, had left the meeting and had not asked to be excused some time ago. And so all of the votes that she made ended up being in the affirmative for whatever the position was that came forward, because she did not properly ask to be excused and it was not voted on. However, in this meeting, this last meeting, we saw that Councilmember Hare had to be asked to be excused because he had something that he needed to get to, and he followed the process, which means that he asked to be excused. Council voted on him being excused, approved, they voted affirmatively for him to be excused, and so any other votes that came up, he was not included in those votes. So we get to see the dynamic, and that's what I was explaining when it happened with Brenda McNair. There's a way to be present, leave, and not be counted as present versus what we saw with her. So that's the distinction that we
I
observed
understand,
between
you
those
know,
two.
I understand all that, but in the beginning of any meeting, it's based upon a quorum.
Right.
Okay? It's based upon a quorum. So if you opt to leave, it doesn't affect the votes going forward. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It has no effect on the votes going forward. So what difference does it make? If you're not present, you either have what we did in the General Assembly, it was excused or unexcused. And people will look at that, as a person as a person seek the office going forward. So
Mm-hmm.
if the meeting starts off with a quorum, you can leave, you can do whatever you want to do. The meeting started with a quorum. And so I don't understand how, the other six members, can say that I voted yes.
No, you said you
It just
voted yes when you did not ask to be excused, because either you didn't know the
That's your
policy or you
policy.
chose
But
not
what
to
I'm
follow
saying,
it.
that's your policy. That is your policy. But if you are absent, and you walk out, or you did or did not, a vote should not be cast
No, I
that
get
you
it.
did not
I
make. That's
completely
all I'm
understand,
saying.
Mr. Floyd, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I think what our audience should understand, since we are about understanding politics, is that in order for that to be changed, it requires the will of the
Yes,
council, because the council is the body that determines the policy that
you're
the council
correct.
operates under. Mhm.
You're
And
correct
so
in that.
we've not seen any will for that to happen. Just like, let's go back to this dinner meeting, there was no will to make this dinner meeting more official, because we saw Councilmember Benavente attempt to do that before leaving office, and we saw the vote fail. So there's the will of this council, and that's again why I appreciate the position that Sheriff Wright shared with us earlier, because we have observed a council that not only um, seemingly violates North Carolina general statute, as ascribed by what we hear coming from out of the School of Government oftentimes. So, like with the Mayor Pro Tem meeting and with this dinner meeting, seemingly violating North Carolina general statute. But also, we see a council that does not even really have an interest or an investment in cleaning up their own policies to reflect a desire for the community's desire for transparency and accountability. Speaking of which, Mr. Floyd, we have new council members coming on, and we have 3 new council members coming on, and they've positioned their priorities. And I thought of interest was that out of all of the conversation, all of the talk in the community through this process, only one council member coming on spoke to transparency. Now, in full agreement with what my incoming council person said. I'm looking forward to exactly what they said, restoring hope. And my hope is that that encompasses elements of transparency, accountability, and ethical governance. That's my hope. I've talked to him personally. These are the types of things that I've heard. I don't hold out the same hope for Stefan Ferguson, especially after the picture that I shared with you not too long ago. Because when I see you posted up with the same people that are already problematic, and you're cheering about the fact that you about to get on with these people, that to me says you're just about to be like the rest of them. And I've already kind of put you in that basket, and you're gonna have to prove to me that you deserve to be pulled out of it, because you put yourself in it when you started making these statements and putting out these images that put you in the basket with them. Now, the only person who mentioned transparency in their article was Mr. Floyd, Sean McMillan.
Yes. And let me remind you now, that was the last word of the article.
That's a great place for it. Let it be your first
Yeah,
word or your last word, so it doesn't
that
get
was the
lost in
last
the
word.
sauce. Mm-hmm.
But we would know, we would get an idea before February of 26. Is how this council relationship is going to play going
I think they're
forward.
going to make nice for a little while. Speaking of make nice, let's talk about Mr. Floyd. This meeting on Monday, the presentation of the keys to the city, and something that I observed that really made me it gave me a moment of respect for somebody. Now, let me preface what I'm getting ready to say, because I feel like sometimes y'all take what I say and you think that it means that my whole perception of a person has changed because of one thing, one positive thing that I'm highlighting about them. It takes more than one thing, good or bad, to change my opinion of a person. So, Mr. Floyd, you could do something negative tomorrow and it would not make me think of you in a different light than the light that I think of you in now. Somebody who I have a, a poor opinion of can do something positive, and it does not change my overall opinion of them. So let me preface what I'm going to say by saying that, because y'all get a little carried away. Mr. Floyd, during the presentations of the key to the city, I observed a conversation that to me seemed to be the most authentic conversation that I've ever seen this person have in public. Okay? Ever. This person being Mayor Mitch Colvin. When he presented the key to the city to Mario Benavente, the exchange and the words that he said to him, and a lot of people sometimes get caught up on their own interpretation of what is being said. As I listened to Mayor Mitch Colvin, I respected what he said to Mario Benavente. He was the only person, in fact, who spoke to Mario Benavente during the presentation of his key to the city, who I felt was reflective in a way that really spoke to the heart and the character of the work that Mario Benavente put out into this community. Mitch's comment, excuse me, I'm trying to do better. Mayor Colvin's commentary to Councilmember Benavente was insightful, it was well positioned, and it demonstrated when he articulated the fact. Now, there were a couple of things he could have left out of his speech, but the greater portion of his speech, when he articulated this line, I said, maybe he does understand the value of disagreement, because he said, and it's a biblical phrase, iron sharpens iron. And it gave me the opinion that he understood that Mario's position and his differences existed to make Mitch's position and his differences sharper and better. And that was a moment where um I was actually I was pleased to be listening to our mayor speak when I heard that, the mayor of the city speak when I heard that. Now, with some other stuff during that presentation of the key to the city, of these keys to the city, Mr. Floyd, where I was like, these people need to shut up. They need to just be quiet.
Let's look at the Board of Election.
Wait, we can't pass by this because I'm not finished with the city council stuff.
Yeah, but we need to move. And all we need to do, because we only have 13 minutes left.
I know.
and we
Hold
need to
on. Let's
move
finish
to
this
work.
because we got two more points we got to make in this city council stuff, and I don't want us to have to go back. The other point that I want to make is let's talk about this is about procedure. Mr. Floyd, there was a conversation about um something that was audibly heard during the council meeting that appeared to come from the council member who was joining from online, who was Dino Hondros. It appears as if Dino Hondros referred to council member Derek Thompson as mayor pro tem elect during the meeting, which would indicate that Dino is nodding to the fact that these conversations have already taken place, which we know they do, and that there's always already 6 votes secured for Derek Thompson to become Mayor Colvin's mayor pro tem. So we are speculating that if this audio that we believe we heard is accurate, our next mayor pro tem is going to be Derek Thompson, which I think is very interesting. I think it's a good choice, given all of the optics. I think that he and Mitch will probably have a lot of fun serving as mayor and mayor pro tem together. But I don't know how that plays out for our community. Now, Mr. Floyd, that's all I have for the city council. If you would like to go ahead and shift now into talking about the board of elections, I'm ready to move on.
Okay. And remember that the council has a policy normally if the mayor is black, that the mayor pro tem is other.
That's not a policy. That's just an unwritten.
And I
and
just want to
unspoken.
say, I just want to
Yeah.
mention that's what has happened in the past. So
Yeah, they
if
have a
it change,
history.
it
They have a
change.
history of that.
Yes,
Mhm.
if it changed, it changed. But as it relates to the board of election, there's been some conversation that the board of election, based upon statutes that were passed by the General Assembly, moved the board of elections to the state auditor.
Mhm.
The Democrats on one side, doing before that, the governor will make the 5-member appointment to the state board of election and also to the local board of election.
Mhm.
Since the bill passed, then the Republican now appoints 3 and the Democrats appoint 2. The Democrat Party now have some concerns about that. But what people need to understand and fully understand is that when we had the election back in 2017, there was a bill passed that would allow both Democrats and Republicans to form a pact to elect statewide persons.
Mhm.
Statewide person. The
Mhm.
money that the Democrat received from this, the majority of it went to Governor Stein.
Mhm.
We did not give 3 persons that's running for statewide office any funding. Any funding. And one of those persons was Jessica Holmes, which
Mhm.
ran for auditor that could have possibly won. She only lost by 2%. But the party did not put any money of that 40 plus $1 million
Mhm.
towards Jessica Holmes' election. So
Mhm.
now you are hollering foul play, but you did not participate in helping these individuals running for statewide office. This is what has hurt the Democrat Party over the years, is that they put their money not into races, but how well they like that candidate.
Mhm.
Now, the minority of the party is not the minority in our state.
Right.
They control and dictate to the majority of the supporters, which are Democrats, which are minorities.
Mhm.
Okay. They dictate to the minority how they see things. And with Governor Cooper as being the U.S. Senator person, it doesn't really matter with the Democrat Party. They don't have to spend a dime in the African American community. They are going to vote for Cooper whether or not he supported Holmes, whether or not he supported Winston, whether or not he supported the young lady that ran for governor in 2020 and the 2 African Americans that ran. It doesn't matter. So
Right.
what I'm simply saying that until that change, Why you always gonna complain about foul play when you
Right.
had an opportunity, what we call, into participating in toss-up district? We don't do that. Until we do that as a party and stop looking at how well I like you. Same thing at the city council, county board, and commission.
Right.
How well I like you. We will not change the flavor of this state. So we knew that this was going to happen, but we
Mm-hmm.
did nothing to participate. But that is the
Right.
way that, do I like it? No. But we had an opportunity to change that. Had we have provided, perhaps it would not have occurred if we had put money into home selection. But we didn't do that. So now we're hollering foul play. It should not be, and you expect to be treated equitably, as you say, is that when you was in charge.
Right.
That's one thing that we need to understand, and our community need to understand, is that they need to understand that Holmes could have won if she had would have gotten some of that $40 million.
Yeah,
The
and I mean, people have
the
to stop whining. Like when you're on the losing side, you're just on the losing side, and it just is what it is. And until you can make your message resonate with the people that you want to put you on the winning side, you're just on the losing side. So either change your messaging, change your position. Like you got to make some changes. You can't just whine about the fact that you're on the losing side. It's you always say, Mr. Floyd, that politics is about the art of negotiation. If you have something that somebody wants enough, they will negotiate with you. If you don't have anything of value to them, or if they don't need you to get what they need done, they're not going to negotiate with you. And that is just the way it is. That's the way it's been since antiquity. That's the way it is. And does it suck? Sometimes, especially when you're on the losing side, but it is the way it is. You don't hear the same people complaining when they're in the position to be able to affect the change or to do the things. When you talk about um, uh, redistricting, no Democrats were complaining about redistricting when they redrew the maps to pull Mike Colvin into District 43. I didn't hear any Democrats jumping up except for you, Floyd, and that's because it directly affected you. I didn't hear anybody else coming to your aid talking about how unfairly the maps were drawn or how they shouldn't have done this, that, or the third. Because when it benefits y'all stay silent. It's not until you're on the losing side that you start speaking up. So either shut your mouths when you're on the losing side or speak up when it happens on both sides because you lose credibility. Mr. Floyd, you gained a lot of credibility because you speak up when things are right or wrong on both sides. There's
well, that's what.
credibility lost when you keep your mouth shut. I'm almost finished. When you keep your mouth shut because it benefits your camp and you open your mouth when your
Well,
camp starts not being benefited.
let me say this, Chief, as we wind down to two things, is that the party itself, those individuals who did not receive any financial support,
Should have been
they
saying
have
something.
not made, thank you. And so my concern is going forward with candidates. If you're not going to speak up for yourself, then how in the world are you going to speak for me? Doesn't make sense. It doesn't. If you don't make a statement when someone slapped you, I don't mean be disrespectful, and you don't speak up for yourself. Holmes didn't say anything. Winston hadn't said anything. Ron Tabor, a wife out at Fayetteville State that helped prepare Kimberly Harder to where she is today, didn't say anything. So, but yet still, you expect for me to get in line and follow the leader. No, Chief, I can't do that. One thing about Floyd, and the scripture said, use common sense in your decision making process. But as we close out, Madam Waddell, you can get on I-95, I-295, and go from the northern end to the southern end by what's it, Lumberton. So it's
Yeah,
open
them
all
Hope
the
Mills
way.
police not playing with y'all. So they were out giving tickets on their new part of the highway. So slow your butt down because they said you might speed in Fayetteville, but you won't come on our part speeding. So slow down.
Well, it's open up, and don't forget, Natish. Now tomorrow is Thanksgiving, so we pre-record, and thank you for doing this, and I really appreciate it. So have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I got to get back to my Cornish hen.
Absolutely. So, in closing, I do want to remind you guys what Sheriff Wright said to us. In life, some people are meant to take orders and some are meant to lead. There is no justice apart from righteousness, no righteousness apart from Jesus. If you want to see justice, seek Jesus. Have a wonderful day. Have a phenomenal Thanksgiving. Mr. Floyd, thank you for letting me join you today on this podcast. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, follow, tell a friend to tell a friend, and we will catch you on the next episode.